Greetings world. We are on DK. We have noticed that our videos have been increasingly censored. They are not showing up in the subscriptions feed. Your comments do not always come through. Our responses do not always go through either. However, rest assured that we have not stopped the fight, nor will we. It is clearly a sign that we are doing something right. We will only face ever-increasing restrictions because we speak truth. As we continue to expose to you the controllers of our world, we will begin a series of videos about the families who control what is commonly known as the Illuminati, or 13 families. The elite everyone hears about. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Faces, the Puppets, the Jesuit Pope who we have discussed before, gives them orders, and is himself controlled by a few families who do their best to stay in the dark. The elite Jesuit papal bloodlines. We will expose one of them here for you today. We have written about these families and we have traced and documented them back to Canaan 4400 BC. In our document The Bloodlines. Please see it for more information. One of the top elite families of the Jesuit papal bloodlines are the Farnese. As we have discussed the Jesuits at length before, as well as in the document, we will not linger on the topic here, but will mention once again the leaders of the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits, who we expose to you with their sun worship logo, control power in the highest levels of the Jesuit Illuminati and governments across the world. The Jesuits control the Knights of Malta, Knights Templar, Knights of Columbus in USA and inside the Roman Church, Opus Dei which was created by them. So without further ado, let us look at one of the top families. The Farnese family crest is a yellow shield with 6 blue fleurs-de-lis forming an upside-down pyramid. You can see the unicorn used frequently by them as well. It is a symbol used and created by those in the occult. Such are the Farnese. The story goes that they created their name Farnese around 900 AD after one of their castles. Castrum Farneti, which translates to Castle of Fame, a municipality in Italy in the province of Viterbo, bears their name as well. Long ago when the bloodlines invaded Italy, they naturally named their territories after themselves. Sparta, Rome, and so on. Here we have Farnese, Italy. The area grows a particular oak tree called Farnia. Occultists put great value on oak trees and most things in nature since that is the mother god. The Farnese family is very easy to find, having been mainly popes, cardinals, bishops, dukes and queens who seem to be strangely ignored by the public. After all, when one's deeds are carried out by others, like these families, they can afford to live the easy life. Let us look briefly at some of their splendors. The treaties of the European Union are located in Palazzo della Farnesina, which has 1,300 rooms and holds the 13 offices of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The Palazzo della Farnesina was built in Rome next to the Orti della Farnesina, Farnese Gardens and 2 other castles. The Palazzo Farnese and the Villa Farnesina are parallel each other with the river Tiber cutting between them. In 1119, we can find Count Marquis Prudencio de Farnito whose grandson, Guido, was Bishop of Oviedo. In Oviedo we can still find his ancestors at Tuscanfanu, a place where occult ritual sacrifices are made, but more on that later. In 1218 we see Pippo Farnese. His son was Raimudio, born around 1242. Grandson Ranunzio Niccolo became the captain of the Papal State in 1309. Of course, as most of these in the bloodline are. He was a Knight of Malta. Ranunzio Farnese, born around 1368, married Penthesilea Salamini and had 8 children. One of them was Pietro the Signore de Montalvo de Castro, who became father of Ranunzio il Vecchio, Count of Pitigliano. Pietro was the commander-in-chief of the Florentine army and fought against Pisa in the war for Volta, for which he was handsomely rewarded by the Pope. Of course, Pietro Farnese's grandson. Pierluigi the Signore de Montalto was born in 1435. He married Giovanna Caetani and they had 5 children. Their 4th child, Angelo, married Lella Orsini and became a lord, just like his other brothers. You will notice Orsini is one of the elite bloodlines as well. They only breed from certain families, and simply rotate the power within the families. In 1468 Alessandro Farnese was born and later became known as Pope Paul III. His sister, Giulia, also called Giulia la Bella, married Orsino Orsini when she was 15. Pope Alexander VI already had a mistress, Venezia di Academy, and had 4 children by her which he openly acknowledged as his own and gave vast sums of money and titles to. The 4 are Giovanni the Duke of Gandia, Cesare, Lucrezia, and Geoffrey. Once Alexander rose in the papacy, Venezia was dismissed and replaced by Giulia la Bella Farnese. She was his mistress and had a daughter by him. She was called the Pope's whore. Their affair was obvious. She lived in an estate close to the Pope as well as with her husband, who tried to keep her out of Rome after she left to visit her brother. Orsini was forced to return his wife to her lover the Pope, where she stayed until she became too old for him. She became the governor of a town, Carbonano, which had been given to her husband Orsini by the Pope as a thank you 3 years before he died. Giulia Farnese is in many paintings from the time, typically titled The Virgin and the Unicorn. In 1503 we see the first Duke of Parma, Pierluigi Farnese, who married Girolamo Orsini. He was the bastard son of Pope Paul III. The second Duke of Parma was Ottavio, born in 1524 and left a partially constructed Palazzo Farnese on the River Po in the city of Piacenza. Alessandro Ignazio Farnese III became the 3rd Duke of Parma, followed by Ranocchio, who finished the construction of the palace in 1602. We know by now it matters little if they die. The next in line picks up where they left off. While we can be relieved when they do at long last die like Mr. Rockefeller, we can rest assured that his son too will pick up exactly where he left off. Ranocchio Farnese married Margherita Aldobrandini, another of the elite papal bloodlines. Their daughter is Vittoria Farnese, and niece of Pope Clement VIII. The Palazzo Farnese is now a museum containing many paintings and artifacts from the family, including the liver of Piacenza, which is a bronze, life-size replica of a sheep's liver. This was used in ritual animal sacrifices by a haruspics, a witch who has studied divination and the reading of entrails, that is shit, of sheep and birds, particularly the livers. These types of rituals were done by the Babylonians. It is covered with inscriptions in Etruscan, which was the language used before 100 AD when Latin was created. In this collection of valuable and extremely rare family historical artifacts and writings found in this language we can find Hercules, Zeus and all the other gods which you have been lied about, believing they have come from Rome. If you look into these things, you will find a clear continuance of them back in history much further than we are told. It is reported that the last person to be able to read this language was Roman Emperor Claudius in 10 BC. With his family heirloom we can follow the language back to Lydia, a region containing Troy and Babylon. We have detailed the family from Troy back to Babylon and back to lands before them. If we look at the archaeology and translate documents on that time, we find the first ruler of the Mermnad dynasty was the giant King Gyges, also called Gugu of Ladu, and Gog the ruler of Magog. He was born around 687 BC. He killed his friend Cannadals, ending the first Lydian dynasty. Centuries later, after many wars and ruthless, bloodthirsty rulers, the Lydians sailed to Italy and became the Etruscans and founded Viterbo, which includes the Farnese region, and Rome itself. Their practices continued through Rome's history and remain unaltered. Today, we follow the line now. Cardinal Odoardo Farnese, was the fifth Duke and husband to Margherita de' Medici, another elite bloodline. He commissioned paintings for the Roman Catholic Church. You will find, should you look, that most paintings done in these times are of the mistresses of the popes, cardinals, and other elite. There is no secret to Mona Lisa, or her smile. She has hidden nothing at all. You will notice the paintings we see, statues we see. The reason they have been preserved while so much is destroyed, is to keep the families immortalized, as well as their mistresses. Who are those in the paintings? Just like the girl with the pearl earring, they destroy all other history and archaeological finds. To control history, they destroy truth and give you lies. So next time you see a painting in a museum, look at it. Who is in it? What is it really a painting of? What is behind the deception? The next Duke was Ranunzio II, and the seventh Duke of Parma, Francesco Farnese, who died in 1727. We of course see many cardinals during this time, such as Alessandro Farnese in 1520 and Ranunzio in 1530, and as we continue, in 1692 Elizabeth, also called Isabel de Farnese, Elisabetta, and Isabella Farnese became the Queen of Spain, the second wife of King Philip V, as arranged by Cardinal Alberoni, another papal elite bloodline. She was the mother of Charles III and niece of Antonio Farnese, the 8th Duke of Parma, until 1731. Having control over her weak husband, Elizabeth Farnese ruled Spain and through many wars, succeeded in expanding her reach back to Italy so her children could rule there. One of her sons, Carlos Charles III, became King of Naples and Sicily and Spain, which were passed down to his son Charles. Among her 6 children we can see Maria Antonietta, who became Queen of Sardinia after marrying King Victor Amadeus III. Charles III had 19 children, most of whom died in infancy and more who died while still young, as is usual with their blood. One son, Ferdinando Antonio Pasquale Juan Nepomuceno Serrava and Gennaro Benedicto di Borbopen, the first, the king of the 2 Sicilies, had 20 children total with his 2 wives, Maria Carolina von Habsburg-Lothringen and Lucia Meglaccio, Duchess of Floridia. We see the Farnese name is used less in the family as their main last name. His children include Princess Louisa of Naples and Sicily and Grand Duchess of Tuscany, Prince Alberto de Bourbon and Princess of Asturias Maria Antonia, as well as Charles IV, King of Spain, Sicily and Naples. Charles IV died in 1819, leaving his son Fernando VII, called El Deseo, meaning the desire, as king. He died September 29, 1833, father of 3 who lived. His daughter, Maria Isabel II, became the Queen of Spain and the 2 Sicilies, mother of 12 children. She died April 10, 1904. Her son Alfonso XII, called El Pacificador, meaning pacifier, was king until he died at the age of 27. Of her other children, only a few of them had offspring, and the bloodline was stripped of royalty in their generation due to them marrying outside of the elite blood. But the bloodline was brought back in the following generation. So we will look at one who is stripped of royalty now and bring us up to date. Alfonso XII, son Alfonso XIII de Bourbon y Habsburgo, took the throne. In 1931 Alfonso had to flee his country due to overwhelming rejection. His son Juan was named successor while he was hiding from his country. 6 weeks before Alfonso died, Juan's son, Juan Carlos Alfonso Victor Mauro de Bourbon y Bourbon dos Sicilias, born in Rome, as most of them are married Princess Sophia of Greece and Denmark, and abdicated his throne in 2014 to their son, Felipe VI, following a long line of scandals. You see, Knight of Malta and Jesuit, Juan Carlos murdered his younger brother Alfonso with 1 bullet through his forehead. Of course, this has been completely covered up by multiple fantastic stories such as Alfonso was playing with the gun while he was cleaning it and shot himself accidentally. But how does one clean a loaded gun when that clearly did not hold water? The next story was, one was holding the gun and Alfonso came into the room. Bumping Juan's arm with the door, it caused him to pull the trigger. The bullet then bounced off the wall, leaving no marks on it, and landed directly into the center of Alfonso's forehead. Still another version is that Juan did not know the gun was loaded and pointed and fired it at Alfonso. And one more is that Alfonso did not know the gun was loaded and he pointed it at himself, directly in the forehead, and pulled the trigger. Other abuses of his power include spending exorbitant amounts of money on personal hunting trips. He brags about his elephanting their kills. He is one of the elite, being considered to take the black pole position. But once the country had had enough of his irresponsibility, and started standing up, he stated he had been considering abdicating for quite some time, passing it to his son. Sure he had. Juan and Sofia have 3 children. The Duchess of Lugo, Infant Elena, the oldest, is divorced from Jaime de Marichalar Ysens de Tejada, son of the Count and Countess of Ripalda, with 2 children, Victoria and Felipe. In 2012, Felipe shot himself in the foot. He then proceeded to fail and drop out of school. Now he has a love of bullfighting. Cristina, who is married to Iñaki Urdangarin, a former Olympic athlete, after he was investigated on corruption charges. The couple divorced. They have 4 children, and Knight of Malta and fellow Jesuit, Felipe, now married to Princess Letizia with 2 daughters. Who else do we have today from the Farnese bloodline? Let us go back and look at the other descendants. In 1899, Alfonso de Orleans y Bordapen, Infante of Spain, Duke of Galliera, and his younger brother Luis Fernando were sent to England to be educated by the Jesuits at Beaumont College. They were there until 1904. Those watching this should already know what that means. This bloodline is deeply involved. Alfonso had many connections, as we would expect. He was a personal friend of President Herbert Hoover, Cornelius Vanderbilt III, Percy Rivington Pine II, and much more. He married Princess Beatrice of Saxe-Coburg-Langau, a granddaughter of Queen Victoria. He was stripped of his titles for the marriage, but it was restored to him later. Their children, who are of the British royal bloodline as well, now are Infante Alvaro, Duke of Galliera, Alfonso de Orleans, and Adolfo de Orleans. Some of those alive from this line today we will list here. However, we will not list them all as it is too extensive for most to pay attention to. Those from this line are Gerardo de Orla, copyright and Spordaben y Parodi Delfino and Harry Freeman Saint, children. Carla Dorla, copyright and Spordaben Saint, who married John Stephen Lilly, and then Nicola Estejero y Ferdinand Dez de Córdoba. Her 3 children are Nicola Estejero y Saint, Sofia de Haro y Saint, and Mateo de Haro y Saint. Alfonso de Orla, copyright and Spordaben y Ferrara Pignatelli, 7th Duke of de Galliera, is a Roman Catholic, as are all in this bloodline. This makes him ineligible for the British throne. Alvaro de Orla, copyright and Spordaben y Ferrara Pignatelli, married to Alice Acosta with 1 son. Aidan de Orla, copyright and Spordaben y Acosta, Beatriz de Orla, copyright and Spordaben y Parodi Delfino, who with Tommaso Decani Farini, had 2 children, Luisa Farini, and Alessandra Farini. Elena Doa Decani Farini married Joaquin de Haro y Ferdinand Dez de Córdoba, founder of PowerNet, on the 19th of June 1999, and have 2 children, Claudia de Haro, and Thomas de Haro. Alvaro Jaime de Orla, copyright and Spordaben y Parodi Delfino, had 3 children with Giovanna San Martino Daglia de Marchesi de San Germano, the niece of Queen Paula of Belgium. The 3 children are Pilar de Orla copyright and Sport.NY San Martino Daglia married to Nicholas Henderson Stewart. Andra copyright S. de Orla copyright and Sport.NY San Martino Daglia married to Anne-Laure Vanixter. Andelwald de Orla copyright and Sport.NY San Martino Daglia, who is an industrial planner for Ferrero, and married to Guadalupe Celestiana N. Alvaro Jamie has one daughter, Eulalia de Orla copyright and Sport.NY Rendina, goddaughter of King Juan Carlos I of Spain. This is only a small part of one line of this family tree. But as we can see through their history, which we have detailed for you in L, when they are realized, when people start standing up to them, not taking their crap any longer, they walk away. All you have to do is keep your eyes on them. Keep watch of what they do. They only do what they do if there is darkness. So shine a light and expose them. If they were all revealed, like we have done here, and the people called them what they were, they would have to go into hiding again and start their plan fresh, under a different title in a couple generations. We are an on DK. We fight to destroy the one world order. We fight against the forces of evil, and we will win. Expect it.
You possess the power to impact the global narrative and to be part of the history. Please share this report, and to be the first to see more videos like this, click the subscribe link below. Thank you for watching. History repeats itself.